What's up everyone? Today I'm going to show you some book build you guys can try out after you reach endgame. Yeah, in my opinion these book builds are one of the best in game as of now. And after testing each of them for some time, I think, for me I can say these are some of the most prominent book build in the game. So these builds are something I need to warn about in this build. In this video is these build will be mainly focused around endgame, which means all the item I use is usually from the last dungeon. And if you guys are not in that range, I do not suggest you guys replicate this because it doesn't really work. And also the builds vary on everybody, and it can change to whatever you guys want, since this game is all about diversity and everybody can have different builds. Like there's just no one meta that's absolutely busted in this game. Yeah, so other than that, let's start with a video about the first build. And what that build is basically consists is, wait, I need to find a better poison spell. Just a sec, guys. Where's my poison spell? Where is it? Wait, okay, it's here. So what this build consists is Toxic Cloud, Black Hole, Refined Magic Shard, 2 Eclipse Spellbook, and the Dark Wither set. A lot of people use this build, and they said, like, even after I tested for a very long time, I think this is one of the best builds out there for book right now, and they do quite a lot of damage in my own opinion. So for each run in the last dungeon with other people, I can do about 700k to 1.2 million each run. Of course, it might varies from person to person as the level of your accessory, like the rarity of your accessory, changes your stat. For instance, if I have a my Dark Wither hat is mythical, if someone else's Dark Wither hat is rare, they will have lower stats than mine. If their Wither hat is legendary or godlike, they will have more stats than mine, and that will cause their build to do even more damage. So yeah, other than that, I can show you what this build do. So what I usually do is to do Cosmic Array alignment, which is basically a spell, a buff that buff your spell power for 7 seconds? For 7 seconds, yes. So I stack both of them and do Black Hole, suck everybody in, and do Poison Cloud. For me, it can do about 35k damage each time I do it, and that pretty much just kill everybody, every NPC in that dark. It's stuck in the dark hole. So let's talk about the strength of this build first. So for the strength, you guys can activate the spell very far away and kill, and the range of this is quite large, where you can kill a lot of NPCs in an instant. So you won't need to worry about getting hit by the ranged shoots most of the time, and it do quite a lot of damage, so you do not need to worry that they will survive. Yeah. Oh look, I got 737k this time. Yeah. Anyways, other than that, let's talk about the drawback of this build. So for this build, I think the main drawback is first, it's pretty hard against bosses, since a Black Hole doesn't suck boss in and let boss get stuck. So most of the time the boss just walk away from the Black Hole and not do the maximum damage. Also, for instance, like the Phantom King, where he just teleport around. Sometimes he'll just teleport out of your Poison Cloud and just ignore it completely. So this build will not do the same amount of damage to bosses as to normal NPCs. Another drawback, if you can call it, is this build is pretty hard to get. So So there's the black hole, which is mythical drop, refined magic shard, which is also mythical drop, and 2 eclipse spellbook. These are pretty hard to get in my own opinion, and especially the eclipse spellbook. If I'm not incorrect, there aren't that many people who sell it in the trading servers. For some reason, I don't know why. Yeah, I just haven't seen a lot of people selling it. And they can sell it for quite a price, like 30k gold for each. So it's pretty hard to get a hand on these items. Yeah. Also, you guys can change this build depending on what you guys want. So for instance, you guys can, if you do not have to eclipse spellbook, you can change it to a Wings of Ice, where it's basically the same, and you can just use the Ice Spear to do damage instead of have one spell boss. So it also is plausible. So it all depends on what you guys have and what you guys think best work out for you guys. Yeah. And talking about this, and now let's move on to the second build, which is in my opinion much easier to get. So for this build, I will also use Dark Hole and Refined Magic Shard, and also 1 Eclipse Spellbook. However, for the second Eclipse Spellbook, I will change it to a Putrid Grimoire, which is really easy to get in my opinion in the end dungeon. And change this, change the Poison Cloud either to a Magic Shard or something that's low cooldown, or any other spell you guys want, for instance Flamethrower and all that. So for me, I'll change it to a Magic Shard. So what I do is first activate the buff, do Black Hole like the first spell, and do Putrid Spray on the thing. It will do quite a lot of damage, and it can do about 20k I think. And yeah, I think it's pretty plausible. It's pretty good in my opinion, and it's pretty easy to get. It's easier, not pretty easy, it's easier to get than the old build. So yeah, that's for the second build. And the benefit of the build is first, it do quite a lot of damage as well, and second, it's easier to get. Yeah. However, the drawback that I usually don't choose this build is because of the fact that Putrid Spray have a pretty small range. So what this means is you have to stand a tad bit close to the black hole to hit the troops. And even though the troops usually can't get out of the black hole, they will usually be able to hit you, since like the ranged troops for instance. And as you all know, Blood Class have no health whatsoever, so even a hit from the ranged troop can almost kill you if you are not careful enough. So that's the drawback of this build, and therefore I'm not using this for most of the time, because it's just pretty dangerous in hardcore, where one death means that you have to wait 25 seconds to be respawned, even if there are people surviving. And I just don't want to take the risk. Yeah. And lastly, for the third build, I call this the spam build in general. So what you do is basically just equip spammable spells, low cooldown spells, and that's about it. So for me, I like to use 1 Eclipse Spellbook, 1 Wings of Ice, not fire, change Black Hole and Magic Shard into 2 low cooldown spells. And for 1 low cooldown spell I definitely want you guys to use is Searing Dagger, which is really good. And for the other one, I chose Cold Blast because it can do the chilling effect, which I think is pretty good. Also, you guys can use Frostband, which is pretty good as well. So what I do is activate the buff and just spam. Oh, I messed up with it, but so most of the time you do the ice ball thingy first, then do Ice Dagger, Ice Spear, because as you can see in the thing, it tells you that when it hit a chilled enemy, it will slow down the enemy even more and lower its enemy defense, as well as do more damage. And for this Cold Blast, it can do a chilling effect. So I do this and do this for more damage. yeah, you can just spam this or whatever. It can do quite a lot of damage, and I see that most people doesn't use this build because it's pretty underrated. So this build, however, this build is honestly quite busted in my opinion, and it's quite good. Yeah, that's about for this build. So just to remind you guys, everything in this video is subjected to change. Like you guys can change it whatever you want, change this to another shard, I just don't really care, and it'll work out usually. If you just doesn't change it to, for instance, some physical spells and all that, it pretty much work whatever you guys change this to. So yeah, it just doesn't matter if you have everything matched to mine. It, in my opinion, like anything really works with book. Yeah, also to address some question you guys might have. So one question you guys might have is why not use Arc Lightning? So for me, even though Arc Lightning is pretty good, it can do quite a lot of damage and it can do pretty big range. However, I just don't really like it because even though the range is big, it's not like a whole AoE range. It's still 5 troops, I think. And that isn't really just beneficial. I think Toxic Fuse, Toxic Cloud is much better than that. The only thing about Arc Lightning that I like is against bosses, since it's really fast and the bosses can't really just dodge out of your Arc Lightning. So yeah, that's why I'm not suggesting you guys to choose it. You guys can, but I just don't really like it. And Nether Spike, on the other hand, in my opinion, why some people might say why not Nether Spike and Black Hole. However, for me, I just don't really like Nether Spike, even though it gives you heal buff, because it just isn't really that good. Yeah, and who is that guy? Why is he doing that? Okay. So that's about it for this video, and thank you for watching, guys, and see you guys next time. Peace out.